This is Ham College, episode 11 for November 30th, 2015. This episode of Ham College is brought to you by Icom, helping you make those long holiday travels more fun. And by HamStudy.org, a great place to study for your amateur license exam. Hi, and welcome to another episode of Ham College. I'm George.
I'm Tommy.
And it's good to be back. It's the end of November here in Mississippi.
It is.
This is episode number 11, so we've almost got a full year's worth going now.
Yeah, actually, this is a full year's worth.
Well, if you count the pilot, but it was done last year.
Well, you didn't say what year, when we started.
No, and you know, we're going to have the homecoming episode here soon.
Yeah. What kind of college is it without a homecoming?
Yeah, and what's the mascot? You know, we haven't even discussed these important topics yet.
Yeah, we're going to have to, maybe we need to solicit the audience about that.
Or the weather dog.
The weather dog. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. That's it.
Well, you might notice these, I don't know what, I want to use the word gorgeous, but now that we're wearing them. Fantastic shirts here that we're wearing.
Yeah, they're so awesome.
They are. These are courtesy of our good friend who's over there in the chat room right now, Mike, VE3MIC. Mike's got, well, he and his wife made these especially for us.
Yeah, that's much appreciated, Mike. They're so awesome, man. I mean,
they're kind of modeled after the shirt that, Bluto, John Belushi in Animal House wore. It's just got ham added to the top of it, which is perfect. Mike sent a letter with it. He said, "To the deans of Ham College, please find enclosed exclusive limited edition unofficial Ham College jerseys." This garment offers additional protection against the elements. Should you find yourself having to spend the night sleeping in your vehicle or on a park bench, which could happen.
It could happen.
You'll still look stylish the next morning in your genuine imitation Ham College jerseys. Congrats on the upcoming first anniversary. Well, thanks, Mike and Mrs. Mike.
Yeah, Mrs. Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Y'all did an excellent job on these.
Yeah, they're awesome. We really appreciate that.
We hope that maybe we'll, now that we've got a pattern here, that maybe we can get some on the Spreadshirt shop.
Yeah, hopefully we'll have them on Spreadshirt here in the next week or two.
Yeah.
Or some very similar. But
these are really, oh man. Okay, they ironed these on, I think.
Yeah, let me show you the back.
Oh yeah.
Can you see it?
In case you forget your call sign. I'm not sure it helps because I can't see behind me. All you gotta
do is find a mirror.
And then it's backwards.
Yeah, they're pretty awesome.
They are.
I really appreciate y'all doing that. I know it was a lot of work.
Oh yeah.
This was the prototype.
What does it say?
After I got expelled from Faber, these guys helped me get the skills I need to pass my exam. Thanks, Ham College.
That's a classic picture there too. I mean, you know, I would have thought it was Belushi himself.
Yeah.
Well, you know, anytime we're doing an episode of Ham College, we're going to have a chat room going at the same time when we're streaming live, and you can reach that AmateurLogic.TV/chat. If you're in the chat on YouTube right now, there's probably not much of anybody there, so come on over to this address right here and join in the fun. There's a crowd in there right now, and they're doing their best to heckle and, you know.
Yeah.
Why don't we talk about what we did in the last episode? We had a discussion on there. We had a history lesson. And do you remember who it was on?
We did. It was on
You don't remember who it was. There he is right there.
Yeah, that's him, all right.
Joseph Henry.
Joseph Henry. Oh, that's right. Man, you know, we've done so many of those things. It's so hard to keep up.
Yeah, he did some specific stuff with inductors because there was someone else working on it at the same time, I think, in France.
Yeah, he was, but I think he kind of discovered it about the same time, but he was slow on publishing his findings.
And we talked about inductors.
We did.
And there's a few small ones right there.
Yeah.
So tonight, we don't have a history lesson, as we said. What are we going to talk about?
We're going to talk about, since the audience is, or this show is geared at new hams or people becoming hams, we're going to talk about considerations for your first radio.
Yeah, that's a good
And
good
kind of
topic.
discuss the routes we chose. He chose a different path for his first radio than I did, and for good reasons, and we both had reasons, and we'll kind of weigh those out. Hopefully it'll help you decide what you need.
Yeah, so first off, well, there's a lot of different kind of radios out there, isn't it, Tommy?
There are. Let's bring up a web page and show some of them.
These are all dual band rigs, look like.
Yeah, which is what we would recommend for your first radio.
That's kind of what we want to talk about. You know, most people, when they get into ham radio, start out with a technician license. I mean, that's the first step. Some people will, you know, double test or maybe even triple test and, you know, go on all the way to general extra, but that's kind of rare. Most everybody becomes a technician first, and there's a lot of fun to be had there.
It is. There's we kind of discussed some of the modes that you can use for the different bands that are available for technicians, and 2 meters, 70 centimeters. Most of the VHF and UHF, actually anything above 50 megahertz, I believe it is.
Yeah.
You've got pretty much blanket coverage for that for in the ham portions of the bands, and then you've got some small slices, you know, down on some of the HF bands as well.
Yeah. But your HF band slices are so small that most of your time as a technician is going to be spent on VHF and UHF. I mean, that's just the way it is. You got a lot of frequencies you can use there. The radios are not super expensive. And I don't remember how long we were technicians, but it was
a long time.
It was a long time, over a decade.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know,
and I'd be honest with you, I'm an extra now, and I'd probably talk on VHF or 2 meters more than anything.
Yeah, yeah. It's a different type of thing on VHF and UHF. Most of the time, you're going to be talking locally, either direct to someone within line of sight, or you'll be using a repeater and repeating your signal back down in your area, or you can connect to an Echo Link or D-Star station, IRLP, All-Star, one of those, and get wider coverage. But when you and I started, it was, at that point, it was strictly, you're going to talk simplex, line of sight, or you're going to use a repeater. And, you know, there weren't these digital, I guess, what do they call those? IP type of...
the little hot spots?
Well, not that, but like Echo Link and D-Star and all. I'm missing the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, well, there weren't hybrid systems. That's probably not the word you're looking for, but
no, it's not.
But Echo Link really didn't exist back when we were licensed, where you could talk over the air and have something pick it up and trunk it through the internet and come out in another part of the country or the world.
Yeah.
So you've got all that wide open to you nowadays.
You do.
That, and you can do similar with D-Star and some of the other digital modes. So.
But, you know, we're wanting to get into radio when we're getting started. So VHF and UHF, that's where you're going to go. And you're going to want a radio to get started there. Some people want to just jump in and go straight to HF, and that's okay. But you're missing a big part of the hobby if you miss, you know, VHF and UHF.
And like George said, the majority of you are going to start off as a technician, and that's where the majority of your privileges are. So I think both of us would recommend you get a dual bander, UHF and VHF.
So let's talk about that a minute. There's VHF that requires one type of radio, works in a certain frequency band. UHF, that's a higher band of frequencies there.
Yeah.
So one radio can't, well,
It sure can.
Is it one radio or is it two?
It's in one chassis,
It is in one chassis.
but it's essentially it's two radios in one chassis, I think.
So, talking about choices for your first radio, then there's a few different choices out there. As we look at your picture there, there's some handy talkies, there's some mobile rigs, there's some that there's not many base rigs for VHF and UHF these days. I think there may be a few left, but in most cases you would use a mobile rig with a power supply at home as a base rig. So it looks to me there like your main choices are going to be a handy talkie, or it's going to be a mobile rig, which could also be a base rig, and you could even use a handy talkie as a base rig by connecting an antenna.
Been there, done that.
So, what should you get first? What should that first radio be, Tommy?
I think it depends on your style, on yourself. My first radio, well, that probably didn't sound very good. I think I just bumped the microphone. But my first radio was a handy talkie, a dual band handy talkie. But I don't sit at home at the computer a lot, so it's good for me. And I still talk on my handy talkie more than anything.
Yeah.
So my first one was a handy talkie, but yours wasn't.
No, my first one was a VHF mobile rig. The reason I got that is our friend Jim. You remember our friend Jim?
I remember our friend Jim. We saw him about a month ago.
On AmateurLogic. Jim lived about 70 miles or so from here, and he and I got licensed at the same time, and we were wanting to talk with each other. Well, the chances of us picking up one of these and talking direct for 70 miles is not very good.
Not direct.
So we needed something with a little more power than that. So we both bought 50-watt VHF rigs, mobile rigs, and we bought power supplies, and we bought directional antennas and put them up, and we were able to talk. Not exactly every day because that was pushing a little bit, but most of the time we could talk. But there was a mistake in that. People had told us you need to get a dual band rig. Don't just buy a 2-meter rig. Buy a dual band rig that does 2 meters and 440. And the reason for that is you might want to do something like crossband repeat, or there might be both VHF and UHF rigs or repeaters in your area.
Right.
Within, I'd say 2 or 3 months, I was selling my 2-meter mobile and buying a dual band mobile. And because I got a handy talkie as well, not this one right here. Handy talkies were much bigger than this.
Oh yeah.
Back when I got licensed.
Yeah, it's like a brick.
Yeah, but I could take my handy talkie then, talk to it. It would talk to my radio there at the house, so I would talk to it on UHF, and then it would rebroadcast my transmissions back on VHF over the big antenna where Jim could hear it, and then he could talk back to me over VHF and my mobile rig, or it would be a base rig then because it was in the house.
Yeah.
That would rebroadcast back to me on UHF, and broadcast is not the right word, is retransmit. But anyway, so it took 2 bands to pull that off, and I still do a lot of cross banding today. That's what you call it.
And then you weren't confined to that armchair or that chair
Right.
that we were discussing a few minutes ago.
I could take my handy talkie and I could walk all around the house there or the property, or even go up the road a piece and still get back to it. So for me, my first rig was a mobile rig. It's because I could use it to have 50 watts there at home for a base station, and I could take it and put it in my vehicle when I wanted to and have 50 watts there, a decent mobile signal. You used one of these for everything.
I did. I used it at the house. I had a speaker mic that I plugged into it, and I had an antenna. I actually lived in an apartment at the time, but I had snuck an antenna. I ran coax up the chimney and jumped on the roof at night and put an antenna on the back side, just a homemade quarter wave.
Yeah.
And that's what I used for a long time. Luckily, I was on a hill, so I actually had decent coverage with it.
You did.
Where it was.
You really had good coverage when you were at the base. Now, when you were mobile with the thing.
Yeah, now that's another story, and I'd like to change the subject.
Yeah, it didn't work so hot as
it did not work well as a mobile. Even with the external antenna and rubber duck mobile, which that's the rubber duck.
Yeah.
That's pretty well unusable.
Yeah.
Unless you're within a block or two of who you're trying to talk to, I just don't recommend that at all.
Yeah, doesn't work so good. You can buy an adapter though, and screw in there, and then hook a mobile antenna or a base antenna or whatever you want on one of these.
But it is a perfectly viable option to run mobile like that if you've got an antenna and a microphone on it, and you don't have a lot of space, or
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I did it a good while, so that's a perfectly viable option.
Yeah.
But you're going to be really limited on your power.
Yeah, I actually bought a linear amplifier to go with my first handy-talkie, and I put that 50-watt linear in my truck, and then I had a cable I could just plug into the top of the handy-talkie there on the antenna, and it would give me up to 50 watts. So I was as strong as any other mobile then. The one drawback, though, that you've still got using a handy-talkie for a mobile is the receivers in these were built with using a rubber ducky in mind. So that means some of the filtering and such is not going to be as good on these radios as it would on something made to go with an external antenna.
Some of the newer ones I think are better, but it's still not going to be like a regular mobile rig that's made for it. That could be a problem in some areas.
Well, and it would mostly be a problem with intermod, where there's a lot of radio signals in your area mixing together and creating harmonics on different frequencies. These things right here they can't reject that as good as a larger rig that was intended to. But still, that doesn't mean you shouldn't use it. I mean, it's still going to be usable, and you just might have some areas where you've got extra interference. So I still kind of lean toward a mobile dual band rig should be your first rig. And
and honestly, in hindsight, I would have been better off to do that with the dual band and then got a handy-talkie later, but I'm still pretty happy with the choice that I've made.
I think most people still say that a handheld is your best choice.
Yeah, it's so versatile.
Transceiver. Yeah, I haven't been watching the chat room over there to see what they are, which way they're leaning on it. There's talking about the handy-talkies here. There's a lot of different choices out there. This one is probably the best handy-talkie on the market today.
In my opinion, it is.
Yeah, this is the Icom ID51A, or this is the A Plus model here. This is the 50th anniversary edition, so it's got the blue, but the ones that they sell now are, that's black on it.
Yeah,
same radio. It's got D-Star, GPS, and everything else in it. And these, if you're looking for a good high-performance handy-talkie that'll do everything and it's rugged, this is as good as you can do.
Yeah, that's something you can kind of grow into a little bit too. So
I wouldn't necessarily start out with one like this, because it's more expensive and it's got more stuff on it than you're probably going to use to begin with. There's a lot of other choices. This is not the only one that Icom makes, or there's a number of manufacturers out there. We've got a couple of cheap choices here. This is one I picked up at a HamFest years ago, and I think you've got.
Yeah, I've got one similar.
A HamFest special. This works.
Yeah.
There are people who use these.
I'm not near as happy with the one that I have as you are
that's the Chinese one you've got there, and you say you don't.
I'll probably get hate mail for this, but it's dirt cheap, and you kind of get what you pay for with it. I don't like it. I wouldn't recommend it. Now I know a lot of people buy them because because they're really inexpensive. And honestly, the only reason that I got mine is because when I had my boat, I didn't want to drop my my one like this into the water and have it sink to the bottom. So this one fell over into the water. I really wasn't out anything.
Yeah.
But it's hard to program. Right out of the box, they'll transmit out of band, so you can get yourself into trouble with that. And I don't recommend it, partly for that reason. And you pretty much need a cable to program it. It's a kind of a pain.
Yeah. So these, they do work if you're just talking about I'm going to talk and I'm going to listen, this will do it. If I want to change frequencies real quick when I go to a different area or anything like that, you know, forget it.
Yeah.
You're going to need a computer pretty much to do that with. So they're cheap, they do work, and some people like them, but they're not going to give you the performance that, you know, something by one of the larger Japanese manufacturers will give you.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, you kind of get what you pay for with that stuff. But Icom, some of the other ones have some pretty good, you know, just standard.
Oh yeah,
dual banders.
Yeah, this is their top of the line, but they've got 2 meters, dual banders.
And I'm going to take a little bit of a different stance because I think I would recommend that for your. It's nothing wrong with it for your first radio because the price, they actually lowered the price on these a while back, and it's a little more expensive than the others. And if you want to go out on the limb and get something you could grow into, it makes a good first radio.
Well, yeah, it's a little bit expensive, but it does everything that you could possibly want to do.
Pretty much, yeah.
In a handy talkie, yeah. They've come a long ways. My first one, the radio and the battery together stood about this tall.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was an Icom IC24AT, I think.
Yeah. The battery was way bigger than the radio.
Yeah. Here. Now with these lithium-ion batteries, the handy talkies have shrunk considerably. Mm-hmm. But that's a little discussion on the first radios there.
It's really going to be a personal choice.
It's going to be a personal
but
thing.
Your lifestyle. Yeah. The handy talkie thing works for me. I use a radio just like this today, you know, primarily. I talk on it more than anything. Well, this is something you're going to have to weigh out. Yeah,
most of my talking these days is done when I'm mobile, you know, driving around at work. And so a mobile rig works best for that. And then the rest of my talking is generally on the base station here, which I've got a mobile rig.
Yeah, do you want to show your mobile rig?
Yeah, now this is not a dual band rig here. This, Tommy, is the best mobile transceiver known to man.
It's the second best.
This is the Icom IC7000. They don't make it anymore. It was replaced by the IC7100.
Yeah, which is the one I have.
Yeah,
which is the best one.
But these have everything. They all modes. Don't have D-Star in it. Yours does. 7100 does. But it's got HF, VHF, and UHF, so you can operate it on all the bands with all the modes like sideband, AM, FM. It's a good choice.
It's not bad for a first type radio. One of these all mode, all band radios.
They're more expensive.
It's a lot more expensive, but you know, if you want to listen around on HF before you talk, you know, that'll give you the ability to do that. Plus, you've got 2 meters, 70 centimeters, and 6 meters, which you've got, you know, pretty much all privileges on all of that. And
an all band rig that does HF, VHF, and UHF together is going to cost a fair amount more than just a dual bander rig. And a top of the line handy talkie is going to cost more than a less expensive model. I wouldn't necessarily save up my money till I could buy a really expensive radio as my first radio. You know, I want to get in and start talking.
Yeah, get on the air. So, you know, weigh out your finances, get what you can afford, get the best one you can afford, and go from there. And the main thing is to get your ticket, get on the air. And believe me, it won't be your last radio.
No.
It will not be your last radio. I can tell you from looking around in this office in here and looking around at my place, it's going to be far from your last radio.
Yeah, you'll end up with more than one.
No doubt.
Yeah, there's a lot of good choices out there, and you might buy something used.
Yeah, that's a good way to get in, relatively inexpensive.
Yeah.
But be sure, if you go the HamFest route, most people are pretty straight up, but be sure you take it to the test table and test things out if you're going to go use one at the HamFest.
And know that that's going to kind of be limited too. I mean, if you're buying a dual band rig, you take it there to the test bench. They've got a power supply, dummy load, watt meter and all, and they test it out and it looks good, then you're probably okay. I've bought 3 different HF rigs from HamFest before, and we hooked them up there and tested it out. Looked like they were working good, but all 3 of them did have something wrong with them. I ended up having to.
Oh, all 3? I didn't know. I knew 2 of them did.
Yeah, all 3 did.
Oh, wow.
I had to do something to all 3 of them, but they weren't real late model rigs. They were maybe 15 years or more old.
Yeah, so. But I bet you they said that they work great.
Oh yeah, the tag says everything works or works okay or something like that. So there's a lot to test.
Yeah.
You can probably test a dual band rig easy enough at a HamFest and probably get a good idea of how it's going to work. On an HF rig, it may light up and you may hear a sound and it may transmit. That don't mean it's going to transmit on every band, and that.
Yeah, it's a lot more complicated to test.
A lot more complicated. It could be okay though. I mean, that goes both ways. Just know what you're getting. If you've got a friend who's a ham, ask them for a little guidance. They may even know of a particular radio that would be a good deal for you. That's the condition is known, so a lot of options there, but. Sooner or later you're gonna want to pick your first radio. So this is just a few pointers maybe to get you thinking about it.
Yeah. So in summation, I think my recommendation would be get the best one that you can afford. Shop around on the brands. Of course, Icom helps sponsor the show. So I mean, and we like Icom as well. So But there are a lot of good brands, a lot of good radios out there. So shop around and get what suits your needs and what you can afford.
And one of the major Japanese manufacturers, Icom, Kenwood, Yaesu, and I guess even a Lenco are pretty good quality radios. I mean, it's going to be hard to go wrong with any one of those. When you start getting into the Chinese radios, it might work. It might have problems, but it's definitely going to be harder to operate. It's cheaper, but you're going to pay sweat equity.
You're going to get what you pay for.
Yeah. So
let's get into some questions.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Let's get a message first from Icom, and we can clear off the table and kind of get regrouped here, and then we'll run with it. Over the hills and through the woods to Grandmother's house we go. For those long holiday trips, let your Icom radio help you enjoy your travels. Take Icom's IC7100 D-Star radio with you this season. This radio offers an angled control head and touchscreen for easy mobile operation, a large internal speaker for clear digital audio, and it's perfect for multiband and all-mode communications. Interested in easy hands-free operation while you hit the road? Icom's analog IC2730A mobile and the digital ID5100A both feature optional Bluetooth capability, a large backlit screen for high-contrast viewing, and 50 watts output power on both VHF and UHF. For entry-level D-Star operation, check out the ID880H. Features include VHF, UHF dual-band functionality, one band at a time, good menu structure and easy programming, and fast multiple scanning for maximum reception. Looking for a compact, rugged, and user-friendly radio on 2 meters? The IC2300H has a large, bright alphanumeric display with 3 backlight options, oversized tuning dial for easy operation while on-road, and 65 watts of stable output power. Visit IcomAmerica.com/amateur for more information on Icom's mobile radio selection. Why don't we give away a shirt and a cap? Send an email to this address right here, HamCollege@AmateurLogic.TV. Tell us who you are, and we might possibly draw your name. Well, we're fixing to draw one of those names right now. Stephen Kangas, KG7WXT. He's in Utah, so congratulations, Stephen. We're going to send you out this nice Icom cap and T-shirt. That'll be coming to you shortly here. Send your emails in. Maybe you'll win next month.
Yeah, so where do they need to send the emails?
Right there.
Right there.
Oh, right here.
HamCollege@AmateurLogic.TV.
Yep.
And get yourself in the drawing.
There you go. Well, let's get on into our question pool for this month. And first question here, who's going to take this one? Tommy, you want to take it? Or?
I'll take it.
Okay.
What should you do if another operator reports that your station's 2-meter signals were strong just a moment ago, but now they're weak or distorted? A. Change the batteries in your radio to a different type.
B. Turn on the CTCSS tone.
C. Ask the other operator to adjust his squelch control.
Or D. Try moving a few feet or changing the direction of your antenna if possible, as reflections may be causing multipath distortion. And this is mine to answer here, so if I were strong a few moments ago and but now I'm weak and distorted, change the batteries in your radio to a different type. You know, that would almost make you think it's it, but a different type of battery.
Yeah, maybe if you had dead batteries, but a different type, no.
Nope. So I don't think that's it. B, turn on the CTCSS tone. Nah, that's not going to change whether you're weak or distorted. C, ask the other operator to adjust his squelch control. Well, the squelch wouldn't make it weak or distorted. I mean, if he had it too high, he just wouldn't hear you at all.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to say it's D because I know this is it. Try moving a few feet or changing the direction of your antenna as possible, as reflections may be causing multipath distortion. And what that is here, let's demonstrate that. Here, you take.
Yeah, don't make me use
take
this
one of those. Well, I'm not going to use it. So if I'm trying to talk to Tommy here, he will, be getting some signal straight from my antenna to his antenna. But also there's going to be some that's going to bounce off the table down here coming off of this rig. It's going to be going in every which direction. So he could get a direct signal plus might get something reflected from somewhere else. So he's got...
So what happens if there's something...
If there's something blocking it, yeah. Now I don't think a T-shirt is known for...
Just as...
Yeah.
Yeah. That's somebody's travel trailer or
but
something.
Multipath means that my signal is being received from multiple different paths at his radio, and those join together and combine at different phases, different times from each other, and can cause distortion or signal fading, weak signals, one thing or another. Sometimes just moving a little bit makes all the difference in the world.
It does. In talking about handy talkie for your first radio, that's a bit of a problem if you're using this in the house.
Yeah. And
you got a repeater that's marginal. You can sit your radio down right here and it'll be full scale, full quieting, and you can move it right there and pretty much lose it altogether. So
you'd agree with me then it's D, try moving a few feet.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep. That'll do it. That'll do it every time. Well, next question. And I guess I'll read this one. What term is commonly used to describe the rapid fluttering sound sometimes heard from mobile stations as they are moving while transmitting? A, flip-flopping.
B, picket fencing.
C, frequency shifting.
D, pulsing.
All right. So what do you
It's my
think?
turn. So A, flip-flopping. I don't. That's not going to be it. I don't even know what flip-flopping would refer to here, but I don't think that's it. And picket fencing, that's possible. Frequency shifting, that's not going to cause a fluttering sound. If you got a frequency shift, you're just going to drift off.
Yeah, and mobile stations aren't known for,
Right.
driving doesn't shift the frequency.
Or pulsing, that sounds plausible, but I think the answer is going to be B, picket fencing.
Well, that's what everybody's saying over in the chat room there, Tommy.
Right.
So you've got a better than the normal chance of being correct on this one. And you are correct. Picket fencing.
Right. So I guess what happens is, as you're traveling and there are trees in the way or whatever, some of that signal's getting attenuated, not attenuated, truncated.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what.
attenuated.
Okay, so attenuated as you're traveling, and not all of it's getting to the destination.
That and part of the same thing we talked about a moment ago, multipath. You're getting signals into your antenna from different directions, all the same signal, but the one that
timing.
the one that gets straight to you is going to be a different time than the one that bounced off that building and came back to you. So picket fencing, and that's a pretty good term. You know what a picket fence is, so you can just think of it. I mean, that's kind of the way it sounds.
Right.
Okay, next question here.
Which of the following applies when two stations transmitting on the same frequency interfere with each other? A, common courtesy should prevail, but no one has absolute right to an amateur frequency.
B, whoever has the strongest signal has priority on the frequency.
C, whoever has been on the frequency the longest has priority on the frequency.
Or D, the station which has the weakest signal has priority on the frequency. Common courtesy should prevail, but no one has absolute right to an amateur frequency. That's going to be your answer right there, is A. And that's what everybody in the chat room is saying.
Says.
But, B, whoever has the strongest signal has priority on the frequency. No, they don't have priority on the frequency. They may take over the frequency because they got the strongest signal, but that's not really a courteous thing to do.
That's not how you want to act.
No. C, whoever has been on the frequency the longest has priority on the frequency. D, the station which has the weakest signal has priority on the frequency. No, that's not the case. So it's A, common courtesy should prevail. That's the answer. It may not always prevail, but that's what it should be. But ultimately, no one has absolute rights to an amateur frequency.
Absolutely.
You can't just take a claim and say, this is my frequency, y'all go away. I mean, it happens, but that's not what the FCC intended. So.
Right.
Next question here. Which Q signal indicates that you are receiving interference from other stations? A, QRM.
B, QRN.
C, QTH.
And D, QSB. And this one's mine.
Yeah.
And I believe that's going to be A, QRM.
You think so?
I think so.
Well, that's what they're saying over in the chat room. I'm going to agree with you.
And
It is
the only
QRM.
reason I know is because there's no way that I know to reason these out. You just these are just some of the ones that you're going to have to know.
Well, I'll make a comment on that. QRM, the M means for man-made interference.
Okay.
All right. QRN is for natural interference. That would be like lightning static, something like that, or noise from the sun. Or,
but that doesn't explain QSB and QTH. So.
No, QTH is your home or your location. QSB. What's QSB?
I have no idea.
I should know what that is, and it's a familiar one. I just can't remember what it is right off. Maybe somebody in
Somebody
the
will
chat
tell us.
room here will tell us in a second. QSB is fading.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
That's
That's
right.
right. I remember that. Some of those I just don't really use very often.
No.
Got
What's
about-
that? You're fading out on me.
Yeah. I am fading a little bit. It's getting late.
All right. Oh, you read this one.
Which Q signal indicates that you are changing frequency? A, QRU,
B, QSY,
C, QSL,
or D, QRZ.
or Z?
Yep, QRZ. So this is mine to answer here. Which Q signal indicates that you are changing frequency? Well, I think we all know this one is B, QSY. And like you say, that's just one of those things you're going to have to remember.
Yeah.
There's only a few Q codes that are going to be on your exam. There's more of them out there than actually be on your exam.
Yeah, there are quite a few.
But just find a table of the Q signals and study up on them. QRU, I'm not sure what that one is. But anyway, let's see if I was right on that. QSY, and I am. So that means I'm going to
You don't leave me hanging?
QSY.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm going to QSY to another frequency.
Okay.
So join me over there. QSL means, what does QSL mean?
It's a confirmation.
It's a confirmation. It can mean yes.
Like-
QRZ. What does QRZ mean?
Who's calling?
Who's calling me? QRU is have any traffic from me.
Oh, okay.
I've never used that.
No, me either.
Yeah.
Cool.
What popular operating activity involves contacting as many stations as possible during a specific period of time? A, contesting.
B, net operations.
C, public service event.
D, simulated emergency exercises. That's got to be A, contesting. But let's look at the others before.
Okay.
Net operations, that's not, that you want as many people that can check in, but you're not really time constrained so much. And so, C, public service events, no, that wouldn't be either. And simulated emergency exercises, you're not trying to get a lot of contacts in. The only logical answer would be A.
Yeah, I would say on all of those, you might want to get a lot of contacts, but yeah, I'll agree with you.
But
A.
not over a short period of time.
Well,
It says specified period of time.
yeah. But yeah, I think we all know it's A. That's what everyone in the chat room is saying there.
Yeah.
Contesting. That is a very popular operating activity. I'm not a contester myself. We do the field day.
Yeah,
and
we
that's
do field
probably
days.
is-
That's
and
about
that's-
it. And every once in a while, we'll, when they have the Mississippi QSO party
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah, field day is not really considered a contest, but you do try to get as many contacts as you can in a short period of time. Okay, another question here. Why don't you take this one?
Okay. Which of the following is a good procedure when contacting another station in a radio contest? A, be sure to sign only the last two letters of your call if there is a pileup calling the station.
B, work the station twice to be sure that you're in his log.
C, send only the minimum information needed for proper identification and the contest exchange.
Or D, all of these choices are correct. And let's see, it's my turn to answer. So which of the following is good procedure when contacting another station in a radio contest? Well, be sure to sign only the last two letters of your call if there's a pileup calling the station. No. There are people who will do that, but no, that's not good procedure. B, work the station twice to be sure that you're in his log. No, that's a good way to get out of his log.
That's a good way to get shut down.
Yeah, he's not going to like that, and you're wasting his time by doing that. C, send only the minimum information needed for proper identification and the contest exchange. And the contest exchange is sometimes they want specific information transferred during a contest, like during field day. You give them your call sign, and then you give them a couple of letters after that to indicate, like we used 3 Alpha Mississippi, or Mike Sierra, and that meant we had 3 transmitters. The Alpha meant that we were running on generator power, or alternate power, and the MS meant our state, Mississippi.
Yeah.
So
there'll always be some specific exchange, I think, or almost always.
Most of them there will be. So everyone in the
5.9 is usually the standard one.
Yep. Yep, that's one of the standard ones there. So yeah, send only the minimum information needed for proper identification and the contest exchange.
Cool.
So there you go. Well, I tell you what, Tommy, we need to reload some more slides here and get ready for another round of questions. While we do that, though, why don't we have a message here from our friends over at a good HamStudy resource. Are you new to the ham world or an existing amateur operator who wants to take your license to the next level? Study for your radio license exam at HamStudy.org. HamStudy.org is a free online learning tool powered by Icom. It was created by Richard Bateman, KD7BBC, Michael Stufflebeam, KV9G, and Rich Porter, KK6GKE, and it uses a modern web design to enhance the experience of studying for your technician, general, and amateur extra exams. Since 2013, HamStudy.org has helped new and existing hams to familiarize themselves with the question pools, use stats-based flashcards to focus on material they need to learn, and take practice exams to gauge progress. Visit HamStudy.org on your desktop computer or mobile device. Register for a free account at HamStudy.org to access personalized study history and other site features. Prepare for an exam in an intuitive and comprehensive manner. Check out HamStudy.org, powered by Icom, for free learning tools. Good luck on your next exam. So our next question here, what is a grid locator? It's A letter number or designator assigned to a geographic location.
B, a letter number designator assigned to an azimuth and elevation.
C, an instrument for neutralizing a final amplifier.
Or D, an instrument for radio direction finding. And since this is mine, a grid locator is not an instrument, so that's going to go ahead and get rid of C and D right off the bat.
Okay, all right.
Although the verbiage could sound like that.
Yeah, because there's a grid in a tube, but we don't need to locate it.
Well, it's a locator too. It's like we're not looking for cables underground or anything like that.
Yeah.
B, a letter number designator assigned to azimuth and elevation. It's going to be a letter number designator assigned to a geographic location.
Well, I'm going to agree with you, and everybody in the chat room does, and you got that one. So, yeah, there's charts around that you can use to assign a letter and a number to decide where a station is located. If you look up someone's call sign on a website like QRZ.com, it'll give you the grid locator on there. And I don't remember mine right off, but it seems like it's maybe 5 numbers and letter combination.
I can't remember mine off the end either. I've got it written down there at the house.
I do too. I normally know where I am, so I haven't really needed it much.
That's good.
Yeah.
You don't have to look yourself up on QRZ to find it.
Not usually, unless I forget my call, and then I can't.
Just look on the back of your shirt.
Oh.
All you gotta do is wear your shirt backwards.
Yeah. Okay. What do we got next, Tommy?
Okay, why are Why are UHF signals often more effective from inside buildings than VHF signals? A. VHF signals lose power faster over distance.
B. The shorter wavelength allows them to more easily penetrate the structure of buildings.
C. This is incorrect. VHF works better than UHF inside buildings.
And D. UHF antennas are more efficient than VHF antennas.
Okay.
Well, that one sounds a lot of good potential choices there.
Mm-hmm.
Why are UHF signals often more effective from inside buildings than VHF? A. VHF signals lose power faster over distance. No, that's right, the opposite. VHF signals generally go further over distance. So I don't think it's A. C. This is incorrect. VHF works better than UHF inside buildings. No, that one's not correct either. UHF does work better in buildings. D. UHF antennas are more efficient than VHF antennas. Maybe, maybe not. Depends on the antenna design. But really what it is B. The shorter wavelength allows them to more easily penetrate the structure of a building. Sort of the same thing is true if you're trying to work rubber duck mobile.
Mm-hmm.
If you're on UHF, you know that UHF seems to get through your car windows and all easier than longer wavelength VHF.
And if you do choose handy talkie for your first radio, you'll probably experience that. If you find a repeater that has a UHF and a VHF at the same site, inside, a lot of times you'll see that on your handy talkie when you're trying to use one of them.
Yeah, it's shorter wavelength, so it's easier to get through the structures of a building. So next question, when using a directional antenna, how might your station be able to access a distance repeater if buildings or obstructions are blocking the direct line of sight path? A, change from vertical to horizontal polarization.
B, try to find a path that reflects signals to the repeater.
C, try the long path.
Or D, increase the antenna SWR.
Okay, you think that's it?
It's not going to be D. It's not if you're using my radio, it's not. So SWR is not a good thing, so we don't want to increase that. Try the long path. I think it's going to be B. Vertical and horizontal is not going to matter if there's something in the way. It's going to be B. Find a path that reflects the signals to the repeater to get around the obstruction.
Well, let's see. That's what they're saying over in the chat room. And you're all correct.
Awesome.
That's it. And it reminds me of a story. I worked in television in the early 80s. And we used microwave as a way to get, say if there was a news story or something going on, we had a mobile truck that had a pneumatic mast on it that would raise up this microwave antenna into the air and would shoot it back to the studio there. We had a receive antenna at 300 foot, and it was directional too, so you could rotate it, and you would try to get the two lined up to where you got a decent signal through. And there were times that they were downtown that buildings were blocking it, and the microwave just wouldn't get through. And what they could do is take the antenna and swing it around and bounce it off the water tank, and it would make it back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So reflecting the signal, that can work.
Yeah. Pretty interesting stuff.
Yeah.
So some frequencies are going to bounce better than others.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe the higher frequency, probably the easier it's going to bounce.
Yeah,
2 meters would work better than UHF.
For reflecting off of like metal surfaces or surfaces on the Earth, of course the HF bands, the lower frequencies, are going to bounce off the ionosphere better than VHF or UHF would. But yeah, you're right. Typically, probably 6 meters and above would be stuff from like that. I don't know how well it works at HF if you had a directional antenna, if you can bounce off something. I've never heard anyone doing that. Okay, well that's all of our regular questions there for this time around. People are already answering the next one here, and we haven't even read it yet. These are our electronics questions for this episode.
What is meant by the term impedance? A is the measure of the opposition to AC current flow in a circuit.
B, it's the inverse of resistance.
C is a measure of the Q or quality factor of a component.
Or D, it's a measure of the power handling capability of a component. Well, I notice everyone in the chat room saying A, and that is correct. When we're talking about opposition to current flow in a DC circuit, that's resistance. In an AC circuit, we've also got to take into account the frequency of the AC signal, and that's when we start using the term impedance.
Okay.
You know, if there's something opposing that AC signal from getting through, it's an impedance to it. So that's the term that we use. And we're all correct on that one.
Awesome.
All right, a similar question here. What is the unit of impedance? A, volts.
B, amperes.
C, kiloohms.
Or D, ohms.
So what do you think?
Well, I'm going to say it's going to be D, ohms.
I think you're right. It's the same as
It's the same as resistance.
as resistance, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see.
So we just actually went through this stuff last month.
We did. So you're saying you cheated?
I cheated.
Or you remembered?
I studied.
Yep. There's also something else, and we're not, well, no, I guess ohms would cover it. When you're thinking of impedance, there's two components to it. There's a resistive component that's measured in ohms. There's also a reactive component, which can be inductive or capacitive reactance, but that's measured in ohms as well.
Mm-hmm.
So ohms.
So it's right.
Yep.
Correct.
Either way you look at it.
What is the ability to store energy in an electric field called? A, inductance.
B, resistance.
C, tolerance.
Or D, capacitance. And I'm going to have to read that one again. What is the ability to store energy in an electric field called? I know it's not B, resistance. That's not storing energy. And C, tolerance. That's not storing energy. D, capacitance. Capacitance can store some energy. I'm going to say that's it. A, inductance can also store energy, but that's in a magnetic field.
Mm-hmm.
So capacitance stores it in an electronic field or electric field. And that's correct.
Yeah, that one's a little bit tricky.
It is. It is. You got to remember electronic or magnetic, and that's you remember the inductances, the inductors we had last month, that was all a magnetic type of thing.
Yeah.
It was spinning the compass, so that might help you remember a little bit on that one right there. So let's get on to the next question here. What is the basic unit of capacitance? A, the farad.
B, the ohm.
C, the volt.
Or D, the Henry. Okay, so it's capacitance. I'm gonna go with A, the farad.
Okay.
Ohms is resistance. Volts is the energy, the voltage. Yeah, duh. And the Henry is, I honestly don't remember what Henry is, but I do know that A is the farad.
You know, we just studied the Henry last month.
Yeah, that's the measurement for inductance.
Yep. So, you're correct, the farad. Maybe we'll one day we'll do a history lesson on Mr. Farad.
Yeah, maybe so.
I think that's probably Faraday. Maybe that's where that
Probably so.
term came from.
The one that built your shop. He designed
Yeah,
your
he
shop.
built my cage.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, well, we'll move on to the next one here. What have we got?
What electrical component stores energy in an electric field? Did we not just do that? I guess it's a twist on it.
Yeah.
A, the resistor.
B, the capacitor.
C, inductor.
Or D, diode. And you know, it seems like we did just do that.
It's just a slight twist on it.
Yeah. What electrical component stores energy in an electric field? Well, we know it's not a resistor, so we can knock out number A there, or letter A. We know it's not a diode because that doesn't store energy either. And we know an inductor stores energy in a magnetic field, so all that leaves us with is B, the capacitor.
So you're saying it's D?
I'm saying it's B,
I'm kidding.
like everyone else in the chat room there. Yeah, the other question is, what is the ability to store energy in an electric field called? Capacitance. And this was wanting the component, capacitor. So basically the same question, just kind of a little spin on it there. And we got one more question for tonight. What type of electrical component consists of two or more conductive surfaces separated by an insulator? A resistor.
B, a potentiometer.
C, oscillator.
Or D, a capacitor. And between conductive surfaces, I'm going to, since how the theme has been capacitance, I'm going with D.
Do you think it's
Capacitor?
capacitors? Surely they wouldn't have three capacitors.
Well, hey,
As
crazier
answers.
things have happened. We know it's not a resistor.
No.
Potentiometer, that's basically a variable resistor.
Mm-hmm.
And an oscillator, I just don't think that's two conductive surfaces, so it's got to be D.
Yeah, it takes a little more than two conductive surfaces to make an oscillator.
Yeah,
I'll agree with you, and everybody else in the chat room does too.
most
It's a
excellent.
capacitor. Well, I guess that's going to do it for tonight. We appreciate you all joining us, and get out there and do some studying. You know, it's coming close to the end of the year. We've been going at this for a year now. We haven't covered all the questions in the technician pool, but we're zeroing in on them.
Yeah, we're making good progress.
So we'll be getting through the rest of them, and then we'll probably move over to general, I guess.
Yeah, should be fun. So we expect to see a huge influx of technician
Yeah.
licenses coming out here pretty soon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you know, we'd like you to go ahead and get licensed now so that you can join us at homecoming, and
Yeah,
you know.
we need to have a homecoming special event
We do,
station
yeah.
or something.
Not sure exactly what homecoming would look like yet,
Yeah,
but
not sure. But we need to figure something out, though.
yeah. Well, once again, Mike, thanks for the great sweats here.
Yeah, they're awesome. I like it.
Yep. AmateurLogic.Spreadshirt.com if you'd like some AmateurLogic swag, some
Yeah.
shirts, etc. And maybe we'll have some Ham
Yeah,
College ones
we
on
will
there.
have some Ham College shirts on there very soon, within the next week or so.
Okay. Christmas is coming up, so you need to be thinking about what Santa Claus is going to bring you this
Santa
year.
Claus.
Yeah. Be good, you know. Play nice so that maybe you'll get what you want there.
Yeah, I'd be curious to hear if you guys decide on first radio, the new guys, you know,
Yeah.
and girls. You decide what you decide to get for your first radio. It'd be kind of interesting to see some of that. Maybe we can, say something on the next show.
Yeah.
What decisions you may have made on it.
Yeah, I'm mostly interested in what did you decide? Handy talkie or mobile rig? Dual band or mono band?
Yeah.
Did you get HF on it too, or VHF and UHF.
Yeah, so shoot us an email or drop a line over on Facebook or something, or Google Plus.
Yeah.
And let us know. Maybe we'll report on a few of those next time.
Yeah. All right, 7-3 everyone here in the U.S. Hope you had a good Thanksgiving.
Yep,
And
73.
We'll see you around December 15th, probably a few days before that for the next Amateur Logic. And back here at the end of December for Ham College game.
All right, see you next time.
73. Save up my money till I could buy the most expensive rig there was to start with. You know, I'd probably get in on.
Let's hold off a second.
Yeah, let's wait till the phone stops ringing.
That's about all I have to say about that. So,
I don't remember exactly what he did right now, but he did a lot with inductors.
yeah, he did.
Why don't we give away a shirt and a cap?
That's a great idea. I wish I would have thought of that.
Mm-hmm. I wish I would have thought of it before right now because we haven't drawn a name yet.
We haven't?
No.